Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for the brand new video. Now today's video is a big one, ladies and gentlemen, as European football has went ahead and returned in a massive way as we go ahead and host familiar foe Lyon at Ibrox tomorrow. That's right people, the words Lyon on a European night brings two drastically different feelings in the old gut. One of so much joy and happy and unbelievable celebrations, which was that 3-0 win away versus Lyon. And then on the other side, on the day I like to call the day my dad never spoke all the way home, on the bus ride as we went ahead and got beat quite convincingly 3-0 at Ibrox, where Benzema has arguably the greatest individual performance I've seen versus Rangers. But thankfully, ladies and gentlemen, he won't be there, and thankfully a lot has changed since then. So let's go ahead and dive right into the old oppositional preview and check just how much has changed in this Lyon side. Well, we are going through the old oppositional preview, by the way. If you didn't mind helping the old channel out, that'd be greatly appreciated. Come aboard, join the team, join the nation and help us on our way to hopefully one day reaching 56k. But oppositional time then. And it's interesting to look at Lyon so far this season because right now they actually find themselves sitting 7th in the old French league table. Now, to be fair to them, they do have the same amount of points as 6th place and the same amount of points as 8th place as it is going to goal difference, but they already find themselves 7 points behind PSG with just 5 games played, and a lot's getting made up of that. But to me, that's harsh because if you look at that PSG team, man, they've got Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, Di Maria, Verratti, Sergio Ramos, Donnarumma, Hakimi. That isn't even just it either, ladies and gentlemen. That right there isn't a normal football team. That is the Harlem Globetrotters of football. And if you didn't get that reference, by the way, go ahead and Google it. You'll love it. So you can't really judge Lyon too much for being that far behind PSG already. But what you can judge this Lyon side on so far this season is how hit and miss they actually are and just how middle of the road they've been so far this season. And I think a perfect summary of that and a perfect example of what this Lyon team is so far early on in the season is the fact that they've scored 8 league goals, but they've also conceded 8 league goals. Straight down the middle, ladies and gentlemen. Good going forward, but at the back, leaking goals. But even in saying that, despite their very mixed start to the season, we can't forget this is still a real Champions League level side because just a couple of months ago, if you go back to last season, they made it to the latter stages of the Champions League, pumping out Ronaldo's Juventus side, slapping him to one side, battering the champions of England, Man City, with all that moolah that they've got. They battered them and put them out, and they made it all the way to the semi-finals of the Champions League where they went ahead and lost to Bayern Munich, which, let's be honest, there's no disrespect for losing to that incredible football team. So to me, this Lyon side that we are facing is still a very good side, despite it not yet clicking into gear. I mean, if you look at your start to the season as well, would you say that we're a good team? Yes, you would say that, but have we clicked into gear yet? No, but we're still doing things, and that's the way I kind of look at this Lyon side. They've not quite got out their own way and got ticking yet, but when they get up to that level and they reach that, they are a frightening side to behold. Now, speaking of their side though, they do line up in the old traditional 4-2-3-1, which a lot of big European clubs go ahead and do now because it kind of fits their style. It's mostly built on pace and getting in behind and attacking and really just flooding the box. I think you'll notice that right away from the game versus Rangers. It's not just going to be one man in the box and sometimes the wingers. No, they push everybody from their midfield to their fullbacks. It's a very attacking Lyon side, and that's why so far this season you've seen goals scored. But also on the flip side of that, it does leave them very vulnerable because when they didn't get it right, when their attack doesn't slice the defence and the ball doesn't drop to them in the box, they do leave themselves very vulnerable for that quick counter-attack. If there was ever a game that you need to win the midfield battle, it's this game tomorrow versus Lyon, because if we give Aouar and Luis Paqueta the amount of space that we gave the midfield of Malmo, we could be in real trouble tomorrow and get overrun. So we need to slow them down there. We need to pin them back and again take advantage of when they do pile everybody forward and when they play that ridiculous high line that they play. And I wanted to mention Luis Paqueta there, not only because he's one of the most dangerous players, one of the key men for Lyon, who I think we need to stop if we're going to win this game tomorrow, but I wanted to mention him because he's one of the few players that was a part of the red list and everything like that who was expected to be ruled out of this game. It was getting reported over on the French media side of things that him and a couple of very talented players was going to miss out, but the Scottish government in the last minute, overturned and gave them a special circumstance that despite them coming from a red list, they can come over and play in this game versus Rangers. Which I'll be honest with you, it's checking from the French media and the way that they're celebrating that, it's almost like they've scored an overhead kick from the halfway line, ladies and gentlemen, because it's not just the likes of Paqueta, it's also Shaqiri, who was expected to miss the game. Now Shaqiri, you'll remember obviously from his time at Bayern Munich, Stoke, Liverpool, and now obviously over at Lyon. He's a very, very talented player, but he was expected to miss this game as he's not up to date with his double vaccinations, and you know the way the world is these days with the rules that's in place, so he was expected to miss. But again, the Scottish Government and everything like that has allowed him to come over and play in this game, so that's interesting given the rules and that's been put in place. Especially if you're a fan and what's been held to some people that's got season tickets down south and everything like that. It doesn't really make any sense, but again, it just shows you the old flip of the coin when it comes to certain acts. But ladies and gentlemen, there is someone who will be missing this upcoming game. And listen, I know not everyone rates him, not everyone really likes him, and not everyone likes to talk about this laddie, but he is one of the best Lyon players and he will be missing this upcoming game, and that is of course none other than Lyon captain Leo Dubois, who I may have just massacred his name. Don't laugh, troops, alright? I've tried my absolute best, but he will be missing the game and he's vital for them, and I think he's one of their better defenders, and him missing is one of the reasons why they've been so open at the old back door. So he is officially ruled out of that game, and that is a massive miss in my opinion for Lyon. Oh aye, and another guy that will be missing the game is Moussa Dembele, who is officially ruled out because of a late muscle injury he picked up the day before the flight, and that injury right there makes it very interesting for me regarding this Lyon side, because that really does shake it, because Dembele was originally the backup to Depay. Now Depay left to Barcelona, they promoted Dembele to the starting 11 this season to see how he gets on, and he's been scoring goals, he's been looking very good over in the French league, but with him now out, it does leave the Lyon manager with a bit of a headache, because they've not really got a direct replacement for what he can bring in, and that is pace in behind, because their natural backup striker right now is the former Leicester City forward Slimani, who is big, he's physical, who's very dangerous in the air, but he won't give you what they look for right now and what they've tried to do this season, and that is pacing behind, balls in behind. So it is going to be interesting to see who they line up with. Up top, obviously Shaqiri's now been given the late okay, so he might lead the line, or they could go over to the other side on Nkembe and give him a chance, but he's been playing very well on the left hand side, so it could be a wee shuffling the front three of Lyon coming into this game, and it'll tell us right away from the starting 11 how they approach this game. If it's Slimani, expect a lot of balls to be put into the box. If it's Shaqiri or Nkembe or even one of their young forwards that's coming in, it will usually be balls in behind in the channels. And you know something, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, that's the end of the old oppositional preview. I'm expecting a very, very tough game tomorrow. A lot of people saying this will be the toughest team that we've faced so far under Steven Gerrard in Europe, and that could be right. There could be an argument made for that, but to me, I've seen the likes of Bayer Leverkusen, I've seen us beat Porto, I've seen us, well, we should have beat Benfica twice, who just spent over 100 million in that summer. We went toe-to-toe with very good teams with the likes of Braga and that as well, so we've definitely showed we belong in this competition with the likes of these teams, and tomorrow's another opportunity to try and battle that. But again, I'm not going to take anything away from Lyon. They are a very good side, but it's at Ibrox, and we've shown before we can take advantage of people that didn't give us respect and pile a lot of people forward, so fingers crossed we see a wee repeat of that. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive over to the Rangers side of today's video, because we have a lot to talk about and a lot to discuss, especially regarding the team news, which is massive and you'll want to hear about it. But before we get to individuals and speaking about that, let's talk about the feeling right now and how we're looking coming in to this European game, because to me, I feel like we're starting to really click in mentally, and we're starting to get that belief again. We're starting to feel like the champions we are, because we've had a very good result versus Celtic with the circumstances we know we had. We had a very good away win versus St Johnstone, the double cup winners last season, in a tough environment, gone behind in the game as well in the second half, which makes it the first time we've actually came back and won in an away venture since 2018, ladies and gentlemen. That is what champions do, and we're starting to show it, and we're starting to click into gear. So for me, we're actually in the best situation we've been at this season going in to a European game. So I think mentally we're here now, and that should be a massive difference coming into this game for the belief in the battling versus Lyon. And I think that belief's going to be absolutely massive in the run and the determination that we've got right now. All this togetherness, the unity that they're all talking about, the players are echoing is massive, because our last European game versus a good side was Malmo, and that wasn't good enough. So we do have some demons that we need to exercise tomorrow. What an opportunity and a chance to do it in the bright lights, the ibrox, on a European night. Speaking of bright lights, by the way, we of course have the fantastic news that Connor Goldson is back in business, ladies and gentlemen. Bring him in, bring CB number 1 right back in here right now, because thankfully Connor Goldson is eligible to play in this game tomorrow, and I just think not only is it good to have him there defensively, because we know what a leader in that he is in the backline, how much he marshals and shouts at people and everything like that, but his threat of the long ball to me could be the key to unlocking the Lyon door. His long ball in behind to the likes of Ryan Kent, in behind the very advanced fullbacks, could be what gets us a cheeky goal. I'm certainly hoping it is. So that's fantastic news that our backline is strengthened. However, we have to move from the fantastic news that Connor Goldson's back and transition into the very devastating news that Helander had an operation yesterday and he's going to be out, quote unquote, for the foreseeable future, and that comes from the gaffer. So you're talking about a lot of months in itself, which is absolutely gutting, because he was not only playing fantastic as he always does for us, but he had made it into the Sweden side. He had put his name in the team sheet. He started becoming the vocal point in that with World Cup qualifiers coming up. So that is absolutely devastating for the big man who destroyed the Scottish media not too long ago. So my best wishes to big Phil Helander. Hopefully it's a fast recovery. Now, I'm not going to try and underplay the injury or anything like that. You all know how I rate Helander. For me, he's up there with one of the best defenders I've seen at Ibrox for a very, very long time. But for me, looking at this game and looking at the strengths, say Lyon, this game was always going to be one of those rotational games for me, when I did think it was going to be Connor Goldson and Balogun, because there's not a game that's more suited to Balogun than this one right here, with the physical threat but the pace and behind as well, which I think is going to be massive. And it's another fantastic opportunity for him to continue his incredible form as well. Now, I think the backline is going to speak for the rest of itself. You've obviously got Barisic coming back in, you've got Tavernier all good to go, so there's no worries there. I know there were some questions coming into this game if Goldson was out and Helander was out, Simpson's no registered, what's going on? Hopefully that all eases your mind. It's going to be Tavernier, Goldson, Balogun and our boy BB. And if I'm honest with you, there's no other massive question marks or no other setbacks besides the one we've already talked about in Helander. The only player that is ruled out is our boy Hadji, who Gerrard has said he's trying to get him back as quickly as possible. There's no mentions of Ryan Jack or Bakuna or Sakala, who obviously had a little bit of a knock but starting to come back into a game, so I assume that they're all ready to be selected if they're needed in this game. So that is a massive boost as well for welcoming the three of them back fit into this Rangers side. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That is the latest team news. That is the Rangers conversation, and that has been the oppositional preview. It's one of those famous nights in the European lights at Ibrox, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing better. It's massive. It's against a very good side that does play some absolutely gorgeous football, zipping it about and everything like that. What a challenge for this Rangers side, and what a potential kick up in the old conference after we got kind of knocked down from the Malmo one just a couple weeks ago. So it's all setting up to be an absolute blockbuster, ladies and gentlemen. We're missing obviously Helander, they're missing their best defender. It's all up in the air, ladies and gentlemen. So all that's left for us today is try to predict the unpredictable. So if you're still watching, go ahead and give me a prediction down there in the comment section below. For me, I think this game is going to be tough. I think there is going to be goals in this game. So I'm actually going to go with a cheeky channel favourite, Rangers 2, Lyon 1. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm backing my team. Morelos, Moment, Ryan Kent, the difference. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is all done and dusted with today's video. Hopefully you did enjoy it enough to be hitting that like button. That does help the channel a lot, come up in search recommendations and etc, etc. So if you don't mind hitting that, that'd be greatly appreciated. And that's it, that's me done and dusted. So that has been Rocky Boy Johnson. I've been Lyon Europa 92. I'll see you tomorrow after the game. Take care of yourselves and bye.